Aloha guys, Kamaya Tarpley here. We are going to do another book review. Today we're going to do Strong Heart by Charlie Sheldon. Actually, this one a while back. Not that long ago, like a few months. But yeah, so I actually like this book. I actually rated it pretty high because it handled things, I think, in a really good way. That a lot of people don't handle things when they write books. So Strong Heart is essentially about this guy named Tom. He lives by himself. He has like his friends, Um, however, he's estranged from his daughter, or whatever. One day, his ex-wife pops up on his like doorstep, like, "Hey, this is our granddaughter. Her name's Sarah. She's a handful. I don't want to deal with her. Here, you take her." And she pretty much just like leaves the girl with her grandfather. Which, we think about it, horrible, horrible, horrible way to do things. I think that from the start of it, I think that people who do that are gross. So let's just hand that over. But so at first he's feeling like, I'm nervous, I can't do this, blah blah blah. However, you see that he's thinking about, what's she gonna do for school? How are we gonna make this house comfortable? Like he gets into parenting mode like he was before, but just doesn't realize it. He doesn't necessarily have the confidence to take her on at first, but he's definitely got the parenting mindset already set up. Obviously, way more than his ex-wife, right? So Sarah is rude. Okay. She's very tough. She's a hard kid to really kind of like deal with. She's got an attitude, which, teenage girls like any teenager really like attitude comes with it because you're going through all these emotions, you're still figuring out life. I'm never going to be the one to say that teenagers have attitudes for no reason. But it's the age where you're sensitive to things and you're figuring things out, or there are things in your past that have kind of molded your personality that way, which is the story for Sarah. There are things in her past that kind of molded her that way. And because you're a teenager, no one talks about how to deal with that yet. They just assume that you shouldn't think life is hard because you don't pay bills yet, which bills are terrible. But I know I'm kind of on my soapbox right now, but I do think more people need to pay attention to that when it comes to teenagers. If something would have been significant to you, obviously it's going to be significant to them. So it's your job as a parent or guardian to figure out how to help them through it. But anyway, off my soapbox, back to the book. So yeah, she obviously has dealt with some stuff from her past that make her really guarded and stuff. So she's hard to deal with, but Tom's kind of like, because he was about to go on his hiking trip with actually his friend and his friend's daughter, who was older. So she's not a teenager. And he's like, crap, I can't go. And they're like, no, just bring her with us, And he's like, okay. So Sarah kind of has a hard time like the entire time. Like she's not an outdoorsy. Like what teenager is going to be like, who doesn't grow up this way, by the way, who is going to be like, yes, I want to go into a mountain right now. What one? So it's understandable that she's like really hesitant. But they all end up going. And the reason why he goes is because he has this device. It's not a device, it's an artifact, right? Made out of bone that's from an ancient Native American tribes. And his friend and his friend's daughter are actually both Native Americans, so they really see the significance in it. He's really going up there to bury it with his great grandfather, who actually died up there when he was younger. But they're like, no, like you gotta take it with you. You gotta, if you want to bring it here and bring it back, you have to bring it back with you because there are corporations trying to do damage to this forest, and this is the only way that you can really preserve it. And he's just really like, no, like, I don't know where exactly he got this from. I don't know if this has been passed down in my family. I don't know if he found it here. I don't know, so I don't want to do that. But yeah, so they're kind of like caught up in that. And Sarah, meanwhile, starts experiencing some really kind of amazing things. Like she sees like this bear that's like a really ancient bear. It's like this bear that existed like thousands of years ago. So, no one really believes her that it's the that it's the bear, whatever. But like the daughter of his friend is like, oh, something's going on with her. Like she's getting some spiritual something. And so Sarah ends up actually going missing one night, right? They couldn't find her for like 8 days. Like she was just out there. And so they're freaking out. And when they finally found her, she was cold and she was just telling the story about going through a whole nother past life, which the author does go over the past life kind of that she went through. It just kind of went a little long though. Like, I think there's a way of explaining it to where it doesn't have to go as long as it did. And I was kind of just like, because you can't, I feel like you can tell a story within a story, but you can't take too much of a break away from what the current story is. Otherwise, you kind of lose yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of lose the point of why this story is being told in the first place. So that was a little like, but otherwise, I'm not going to give you guys more like details because I will end up giving the book away. But there are a lot of lessons to be learned in this. I really liked how the author handled Native American culture. They were very kind to it. They were very gentle with it. I just thought the way they executed it was wonderful. Because a lot of people, when they're handling other cultures, don't know how to do so appropriately. That's what it's scary. And I am a writer, obviously, as you guys know. I think that's a scary thing when it comes to writing. Writing about a culture that's not your own, or at least fully. I even with me, right? I've got some native in my blood, whatever, but like I would be scared to write about it because I'm not fully immersed in it. So it really takes a real gentle hand in like executing these things. And I think the author did a great job. So I would definitely recommend reading it. Definitely check it out. I think you guys will actually like this book. Not just because I like it, but it is actually a good book. So I'm going to leave a link to it down low. And yeah, stay tuned for next book review.